Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The Beacon power up, yeah, time to look up.
What up? What up? What up?
Let's go.
Day. We out here again. Community Beacon Friday. What is it? April 3rd? Yeah, it's the 3rd, man. 2026. We're here again, yet again, and yet again. I'm Palm Beach Mike, your local real estate guy here in Northern Palm Beach County.
Hey man, I saw Arsenio Hall the other day.
Yeah. Arsenio was a beast. And now let me finish the intro because we'll go off into a tangent. Shouts out to my brother on the other side with the Arsenio Hall light. For those of us, it's telling our age. Remembering Arsenio Hall,
golden age, baby.
Yeah, man. Joe Simmons with the Tenacity Foundation. Good to be with the brother once again on this Good Friday. Hoping everyone's having an awesome time and possibly listening to us on your way home or sometime later on or whenever it is. Definitely appreciate you all for checking in, brother. What is going on?
Oh man, it's been quite the season of life. We talked about it multiple times, so I don't even think that's what it's about today. Today, man, I think we ought to dive into community. We're having this deep conversation, or at least it was moving in a certain direction. And man, I just felt that thing like community, especially when you start to think about Maslow's hierarchy, which we go back to so quite frequently, right? We're referencing Maslow's hierarchy, and part of that is just this feeling of belonging, right? A space and a place. And for me, that's a huge thing. While you were talking, I was thinking about what we're building here. The Opportunity Lab is not just your average co-working space. It is a place for growth. It's a place for people to come in, connect, and to be one with someone else. It's a space, for you to have community. But just in that behind the scenes conversation, talking about the good brother Courtney Roundtree and about how you were talking about he reached out quickly. I put in my information in the mailbox, and within a couple of hours, I had a text message. You're in my zone. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. That was heavy. You were right, man. And it's like this feeling of belonging is so sweet and so necessary. And I was thinking about it as you was talking, and I know you asked me kind of like, what's up? But I don't know, man, I'm just ready to dive in, right? So that's just where I am. The thing that I like about true belonging, right? This is my definition of true belonging. So all the naysayers out there, before you say anything, just remember, this is only my opinion, all right? If you want to say anything, say whatever you want. When you're in true belonging, you don't need validation, right? You don't need validation. When you're in true belonging, you don't concern yourself with hesitation, right? You don't concern yourself with hesitation. When you're in true belonging, you don't need validation. You don't concern yourself with hesitation. Also, you don't need somebody to like push you up or build you up. You don't need any build up. This is a space where you don't have needs. Why? Because you're fed naturally, spiritually, maybe not all encompassing fed, but you're there and everything is square. It's good. You can say something that disagrees with somebody else without fear of retaliation. And you can hear something where somebody else does not agree with you without fear that somebody is trying to assassinate you or to do you wrong or to take down your shielding, because you don't have any shielding. You can be free. You can be, in liberty. And so when I start to think of like this true belonging, like I'm in the place to be, it's like we can talk about any of these discussions. And if I disagree with you, and I feel like I'm harping on the disagreement side, and the reason being is because we in true belonging, there isn't really an argument. Now there can be a disagreement that can come across as an argument. It can sound crazy to other people, but who cares what they think or say? If you and that individual can slap hands and be like, yo, that was so crazy, and then go out and get yourself a bottle of water, a hamburger, a slice of pizza, and chop it up for the rest of the night and not hold or harness anything on the inside, then I think that you may have found a space. Maybe you found a space. So that's my intro to what I would like to talk about tonight. I'm throwing it back your way, Mike.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you throwing it back at me. Yeah, I think it's a super there's a lot into it. So I guess so we can I get a clear understanding. It sounds to me like it's it's belonging in the sense of other people, or what, like where are we, like is it in connection with other people? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so I think that connection is a really good word. Yeah, I think that's a great word as part of this definition of true belonging, right?
Yeah.
Being connected, feeling connected, like feeling it's reverberating too.
Right.
It's going back and forth. It's not a singular thing. It's not, I feel connected to you, but every single time it's like there's some type of shade there, if you will, on the other end. And I'm trying to disguise it. I'm trying to be like, no, it's really okay. It should be reciprocal, right?
Yeah. And I love that. And even you going into the disagreement aspect of it. I think to have like a deep connection, like there has to be the ability to talk about some of the hard, what we would call hard things, right? Like things that tend to go deeper, which is beyond just the surface level. Because I'll think about this, like when you meet a stranger, right? Most people aren't just vulnerable to a stranger, like most people, because we're attempting to survey the landscape. Like you mentioned validation. And even in this sense of belonging, even in having a conversation, and this is so interesting because I was having a conversation with someone today about that, not necessarily the sense of belonging and wanting validation, having different probably perspectives on something, but also being able to say, okay, it's okay for you to have that perspective, just like it's okay for me to have that perspective. Oftentimes when I see arguments, it's always people attempting to let the other one know like exactly their side, right? Their truth to the matter, or the way that they see this thing. This is the Democrat and the political side, the religion side. Everyone's attempting to see like where I'm coming from. Now, I think when you start to supersede that conversation, or not, I don't want to say supersede that conversation. When you start to go deeper into that conversation from a place of, man, it's okay for this other person to have their views, just like it's for me to have their views. And if you can even get to that point, I don't think a lot of us get to that point because we're too busy attempting to prove a point. But if you can get to that point, the deeper that you all tend to be connected, even with when, you know, some of this stuff can come from a place of just being hurt, right? Man, I saw this. This is how it landed with me, and I was hurt because of this movement or whatever it is. Okay, and recognizing that within myself, like, oh man, I feel hurt. I feel whatever this is that's happening, and to be able to go to the other person and have that what you laid out as the space, or a person able to hold the space and say, listen, I can totally acknowledge and recognize you being hurt. What's so funny is oftentimes it's like I didn't even mean it that way, right? Like I was thinking about whatever I was thinking about. I probably could have been, and we always could have been, right? Hindsight is 2020. A little bit more compassionate, a little bit more understanding, a little bit, opening up the door. But at the moment, I think we do the best we can with the resources that we have at the moment. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I just wanted to get this thing done, or I just wanted to do what blah, blah, blah. But if you can acknowledge somebody's hurt, or acknowledge where somebody's at, I think that also helps in this space of this belonging, because it's not the absence. It's not the absence of disagreement, right? It's not the absence of feelings. It's not the absence of my experience. And it may differing from yours. It's in spite of this absence, in spite of this disagreement, in spite of whatever it is, I can still hold you in that space. I think about that with my son. Shouts out to Elijah and Paul. Both had birthdays this week.
Happy birthday, boys.
Yeah, man. I know I'm old because I said happy birthday to Elijah, and he shot back in a text message. He said, thanks, Pops. And I said, golly, when did I become Pops? It just happened overnight. Now I'm Pops. But me and Elijah, and heck, Paul for that matter, like we're at different points in life. We don't see this thing. My thing with them, this is so dope, because then I can just treat with everybody else in the same kind of way. With them is that in spite of you going along your journey, whatever it is that you come across, I'm still going to love you and hold you, and you can tell me whatever it is that you need to tell me. Like, we can still have these conversations. I would love it if you come speak to me first, but you may already know that I may say, I don't know if you should do that, right? Oh, maybe that's not, I wouldn't do that. I don't know if you should do that, whatever it is. And so you go about and do whatever it was, because you need to figure out exactly what it is that you want to experience, but still be able to come back and have that conversation with me. There's nothing that anyone can say about you. There's nothing that you can do that will make me not love you and hold space for you. And if I can do that with any and everybody that I come across, if I can just hold that space and keep that love and this is not to excuse bad behavior, or what I would deem bad behavior, right? Like certain things of right and wrong. You go out there and you do something crazy. Hey, listen, you did something crazy, and that kind of speaks to our behind the scenes conversation, or at least it was told that this was something happened, but I can still love you through that. Like, there's nothing that can happen to where I don't love you. I may not necessarily be behind anything or the thought process or whatever it could have been, but I'm still love you, and I'm willing to hear you out. Talk to me about what's going on. And man, if a lot of people, all right, I'm done. Talk to me, brother.
Shoot, boy, come on, man. Yo,
let me let you jump in. I'm glad
you give me a moment in.
yeah, I gotta let you jump in.
You like ta. You're hitting these levels, like my pastor would always say. People be hitting these levels. You was hitting those levels right there. I'm gonna take two words out of this.
Hold on, shout out to my cousin Dion, man. Love you.
Shout out to Dion.
Hope all is well.
Appreciate you. She sent that love when you started talking about Pops. When you got called Pops. I think she liked that comment. Yeah, from your son. Yo, so conversation is so good, right? So love, hearing. I love these things. So when we start talking about this community, right, the first place that we can start this community is at home. It's like, whoa, boom, what is that? I'm going everywhere else seeking for a place where I belong, when we could actually start a belonging right at home. Like, that is the first place that we should be starting a place of belonging. I should, as the father, I should be making my home a place where people feel like they belong.
That's big.
If I could deliver that to my children, what will happen? And so, like, you're talking about this, and I'm picking up not just what we've discussed in the midst of these last 15 minutes, but over the course of these last 5 years, right? And the development of yourself and myself, and how we are treating our young men, our children, to be at large, right? And just having these different types of conversations. You're talking about setting up a place where your young men feel like they can speak with you. Hey, you know, and then you said you started to frame it kind of like, even if it's something crazy, not to say that is something crazy, or what is crazy for that matter, it doesn't really matter at all, because you're crazy, my crazy, two different crazies, right? But to say that if something were to happen, I still love you and I still got ears to hear you. I'm open to you. So if you did it after you spoke with me, I'm here. I love you and I'm here to hear you. If you did it and didn't speak with me, I love you and I'm here to hear you. It doesn't matter which way you flip the coin, or even if the coin lands on its spine. I love you and I'm here to hear you. It doesn't matter what it is. And so that is a powerful statement, because that reverberates the words you stated before, was in spite of. And I love how you said that, because it's like, just throw a blank in that. Throw a blank in that. In spite of, insert narrative, right? For everybody in the world, just when you start thinking about these people, the belonging, right? The belonging, right? Taking it back to the basic stuff. There's one scripture that I recall where I think it's in the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, the Beatitudes, and he starts to talking about those that show mercy will receive mercy. And it's like, if you want belonging, maybe you ought to create belonging. Create belonging. Create the space for somebody else to be free, to be liberated, to have no fear of assassination, verbally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to have no fear of retaliation, across that same spectrum, to not need to have validation from you. Now, it doesn't mean that somebody, especially when we start talking about young men, that they may not want validation, but it's just like setting up that playing field so that people feel like they are being heard and they can grow. And so that's the piece that I wanted to bring in, and I'm gonna throw it back in your direction. It's like, from a man's perspective, where I've gotten in my life, and maybe this is I'm not gonna speak for you, Mike. I would say, from my opinion, watching how you've grown, that maybe this statement would fit both of us. And I would say, where we have gotten in our life, we have learned to create this space for our young men to grow. Make mistakes, dude. You're in my house. Like, I got you. I'm paying the bills. The lights are on. The water's on. You're going to get a meal. I may joke with you and say, if you don't do X, Y, Z, I'm getting rid of your bed. You're going to sleep on the floor. I may joke, but the bed's going to be there. Like, you got a place to stay, and there's no leak over your head. You're not underneath a bridge. Like, this is real. This is real. This is real. Appreciate it, son. This is real. That's what we are doing. But explore life.
Mm-hmm.
Explore life. Because my job, in my mind, in my heart, my goal has been for my children to prep them by the age of 16 to be able to make heavy decisions. Because from 16 on up, a child is really a lot of their makeup is what they will be when they move out the house as a man, or for women as a woman. A lot of what you see right around that age of 16, 15, 16, you're going to see more of it. And the only thing we're really doing at that point in time is not so much molding, but we're just knocking off rough edges. We're trying to help them become sharper. We're trying to help them, you know? So it's like, you got to be there. And I love where this conversation is going.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was telling Elijah, because he just turned 16. So I'm always joking with him. I say, hey, 2 more years, buddy. like I'm getting you out of there. And so I guess like kind of my perspective of having this 16-year-old and then having now a 5-year-old, especially with Paul, there was a time when I believed that I needed to be this like super strict person. I would tell people, I was like, because of the situation in my mind at the time, my thinking was, I need to be overly this way. And if you all have paid any attention to me the last 3 to 4 years, there's a couple of words I dislike using. I don't like better. I don't like more. And being overly something is also a part of that. I like different. Like that's kind of where it lands for me. And so like with Paul and even with Elijah, because of what I feel like life does to us as we get older, the experience of life happening, it's so important for me for them to be their true selves, whatever that is. Whenever and this is me just looking at them, there's certain parts where they just they get a chance to reveal it. I think Paul, the younger you are, the easier it is for those things to take place as life is happening. And so as a father, I just point the stuff out. Like when Elijah is being his true self, like this, my belief is like this godlike self. I'm just like, boom, there it is. You know what I mean? And it makes me feel a certain kind of way, because when I see it in him, I see it in myself too. So it's like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? And then it can last anywhere from an hour. Like if you all been paying attention the last couple of months, I've instituted this 15 minutes of whatever it is. And that means like you get 15 minutes of fully me, meaning my phone is, or whatever it is that you want. No judgment, no nothing. I drop everything. Hey, what's going on? Whether it's something you want to be serious and tell me something, or you want to joke and play or whatever, like there's no pineapple, there's no safe word within those 15 minutes as far as I'm concerned. Like we're gonna have our 15 minutes of just pure joy and love and presence, really presence. And so learning that with Elijah, right? The first always gets that he gets this development as a father. And now with Paul, it's just like, man, just be you. There's so much more. There's so much of the world that's already gonna mold your way of being, environment. Religion is huge. Politics, gender, so whatever sociological thing that's happening, it's already gonna point you in a direction. I just want to see you, whatever that is, and the true you. And I'm just gonna be like, all I do is just reveal it to him. Like that's it. When he's mad, okay, what does that feel like? Like Paul say, I'm angry. And I do with Elijah too, just a little bit. I'm probably a little bit more different in the way that I approach, strategic rather, because he's older. But Paul is like, I'm angry. I'm like, what's that? Like, I want him to define what anger is and what it is for him. That way, when he feels it, it's not foreign, or he's not running off with this feeling, so to speak. it's like, oh, I can recognize this feeling. I've had it before. And my father was there in it. So when he throws his temper tantrums, it's not, oh, stop this. It's just like, huh, what's that about? Oh, I'm angry. Okay, so that's what you do with your anger. You cross your hands. Yeah. You put your head down and you stomp around. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, let's go ahead and have your fit or whatever it is. It's a dope book called Listen. Man, I forget what the author's name is, but super dope book, and it talks about it kind of alludes to what I would call conscientious parenting. Um, so that's a part of it where it's just to witness it and not to correct it and not to change it or make it so I'm comfortable with it. Like I've noticed that there's times when they're getting to a certain way or they even say things like Elijah's a 16-year-old. He's gonna say some stuff. You know what I mean? To where it could be like the simplest thing, and I'm like, oh, so I'm like, ouch. He'll say something that hurts me. I'm like, ouch. He's like, what is it? Ouch. That's tough, right? And that what that teaches that for them to be with it, it also teaches me because I think these kids, like it's almost like a reparenting phase for myself, to where it's just like I can, I'm looking at myself and things that probably that I wasn't comfortable with before within myself. We spoke about this. We kind of started off talking about this belonging. I think the super belonging, I mean, like where it starts is not necessarily in the house. I think it starts within myself. I think there's a lot of us that are around and we don't know ourselves. I heard the lead attorney say yesterday, he was talking about what makes a great marriage. And he said, there's 3 things. He said, you got to know you. Like he was specific. Like you have to know you have to be okay with you. And so I think the belonging part, if I can get a true sense of belonging with myself, meaning I'm good with my feelings, I'm good with my thought process, how I align, the truth within myself, I can recognize these things within myself, then it makes it a lot easier for me to give that to other people, as opposed to giving from a quote unquote empty cup. You mentioned a biblical scripture, and I'll mention something from the Quran where it states, he says, I am truly near, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. This is God talking. So it's like it's the belonging first was in the relationship with God, was in my belief that since God is within me, it's like that belonging within myself, like this closeness, because I'm going to be dealing with myself all the entire time. If I can understand that, and then when I'm in connection with other people, if I can recognize a lot of the impartialities that I have going on, like, man, Mike, did you eat today? That whole Snicker bar commercial, like, did you eat today? Or your sugar's low, or whatever it is. If I can recognize that, then I can also have compassion for myself. I can love myself in whatever it is that I have going on. Then the easier it is for me personally to kind of give that back or to receive it with a person. But just being in that belonging with yourself is super important. And I'll end with this, because I know we said we're going short, is that the loving is, because I don't want people to believe that this is just a free-for-all. Like I was joking with Paul the other day. I was like, you think this is the fun house? he's like, yeah, daddy's house is the fun house. I said, oh, like I felt that. I said, for me, love also has boundaries. And the boundaries is not, I'm going to discipline you or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to force you to go in this direction or like, this is the direction you need to go into. This is how it needs to be. That's not how I look at boundaries. Boundaries is also, I may need to give space, and you're not just going to run over me. Like, you're not going to be angry at me. You're not going to be angry at others. This boundary is like, how can I create boundaries? Like, how can I love this person more? Like, what is it that I'm going to do that's in regards to when this behavior happens that also allows me to love this person once it's done? Like, what is it? And oftentimes for me, it's not in that strict disciplinary sense of the way. It's probably more like getting super understanding about what it is, what's actually going on and what they're feeling and how what's going on in their mindset, and then respond in kind. So yeah,
Mm,
man, awesome. I'll
love
leave
it.
it at that. I know we said it was going to be short.
Yeah. Okay. Let me give a little response to some of the things that I heard you say, and I'll leave my closing remarks with that as well. I'll keep it kind of short. I love that you brought up the first belonging inside of self. I love that. I like that. That's really good. And then also that, the identifying what I perceived as identifying feelings when you're talking about with Paul and him like, I'm angry. And what he's doing is like, all right, well, what does that feel like? What does that look like? What is it? Just that identifying to help clarity, have clarity. One of the things that I didn't understand how to do when I was younger was to identify. I could identify my feeling, but I couldn't identify what was making me feel that way. And so there was a challenge for me as a youth to be able to deal with whatever that was because I don't really know what it was. It's just like overwhelmed, And so as I got older, I learned to become a lot more surgical, right? And that actually increased my feeling of belonging with inside of self. Self-esteem has a whole lot to do with understanding what you are feeling. If you don't understand what you're feeling, your self-esteem can be like a runaway train. And when that thing gets away from you, you find yourself in the caboose and it's going wherever it wants to go. So something to consider maybe, and then I like this also. You said, don't change the words, don't make it comfortable. And then I was like, #freedom. That's what I came up with. And I love that. And I love that because it's like when I listen to my son, and I know we just kind of shifted. I guess it was when I said something about starting at the house. We shifted from like this external outward push to this external inward push inside of our houses. And I know you brought it back a little bit to, more radiating beyond our own bounds. But I love that you started talking about this is not a free for all. And it's like structure. You said boundaries. And I love that. I love the terminology. When I thought about it, I'm like, okay, it's framework. That's what I have found that I've created. And I've heard a lot of structure coming from you. And I've recognized that structure, systems, framework, these types of words are being used almost in parallel with, maybe quote unquote high achievers or people that are having quote unquote success inside of relationships because they have boundaries, they have guardrails, they have structure, and people know what they're getting into. It's like when you tell somebody what they're getting into, they almost know what to expect. And I'll give a real quick, for instance, and for somebody out there, maybe this might go just boom. Okay, I understand. If you have a relationship with somebody, say it's a friend, say it's an associate, say it's your wife or it's your child, and you just do stuff and nobody really knows the reason why, it can become very confusing. For instance, if I go into a barber shop, I expect to get my hair cut, right? If I go into a grocery store, I expect to be able to buy groceries. If I go to a gas station, I believe I will be able to get fuel. But if I just go into an open building, I have no idea what I'm getting. I have no clue what space I'm in. And so I'm always looking. I can become a wanderer in that space. When we set up clear boundaries, clear guardrails, clear structure, we don't have as many other people who are relating with us that are coming inside of our space wondering, what am I getting here? Who am I dealing with? Why am I dealing with them? What is the benefit of being here? It becomes very clear. My principles, my morals, my values, all of these things show up. They're like signs in the window. So you might as well not even open up the door and come in if you don't agree with those signs, right? If you don't want McDonald's, when you see the golden arches, you pass by. If you do want McDonald's, you turn in, because it gives you a clue at what is on the inside of the door. There can always be something more, but it gives you a clue at what's in store. So this sense of belonging on a higher level is like, it's like knowing what I'm getting into and knowing that this is like, essentially believing that this is what I'm looking for. It may not be, because once I get in there, I may find out that it's not what I want. Not at all. But it's clear. It's very clear. And so having these spaces that we've created for our youth, for our young people, and having these spaces like the Community Beacon, where Mike and I can come here and share our thoughts, share our words, share our insight, share our feelings, share whatever it is, and be able to, at the very least, share it with one another and hear from each other, whether there's alignment, whether there's somewhere to learn, all of those things. I think that is all a place of belonging, a place of community. And I love that. I think that we should be creating more of these spaces in more places. So that's my end.
All right. Guys, love you all. Enjoy your weekend. Make it a safe one. And I guess we'll see you next week with Community Beacon. Peace.